What I'm going to talk about today is writers and writing, and also about readers, because many of us are both. Who's also a writer? See, over half, I would guess. So I'm going to talk a little bit about both, because obviously you can't have one without the other. And I'm going to talk about books, which is one of my very first loves. I cannot remember the first time I ever held a book in my hand, but I can remember with vivid clarity the very first book that probably set me on my road to being a writer, which was a book which I am sure this library has. Make a run for it when I'm done. It's called Are You My Mother? Have you heard of that book? It's not a comedy. I don't know why people are chuckling. It's a very deep, profound story about a little bird who falls out of the nest one day and he can't find his mother. So he proceeds on this journey. He proceeds on this quest to find his mother. Can you think of anything more elemental than that? And he goes to a series of creatures, animate and inanimate objects, and just asks them that question. Are you my mother? Some ignore him. Some say, no, but I'd be happy to eat you, because it goes up to like predators. It even goes up to a backhoe and asks the backhoe, are you my mother? I must have read that book hundreds and hundreds of times. And here's what Are You My Mother teaches us. It teaches us about conflict. It teaches us about the hero's journey. If you know anything about the hero's journey and storytelling. Books are a collaborative art. It is a compact or a contract between me and individuals. Not the masses, like other mediums of art, the theater, movies, those kind of things. It's very intimate. We share something intimately, although we may never meet. And I may never know your name. You'll know my name because it's like on the cover and every single dang page you turn. But we remain strangers to each other, except in a very intimate sense. That shared world. We share a vision. The world I create, or worlds I create in my books, don't belong just to me. And they don't exist, really, until they're read by you. It's like music. Music isn't music till it's played. Books aren't books until someone picks one up and reads it. Otherwise, it's just paper with a bunch of black marks on it. Now, we've all had that experience. All of us. You read a book that you really love, and then you find out they're going to make a movie about it. And you're excited, you're a little apprehensive, you're a little worried because of the experience we've all had in the past. You go see the film and you've read the book and you're like, what? What the heck were they thinking? But think about the reverse. When you go see a movie and you haven't read the book yet, right? And the movie is so intriguing, so good that you decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to read the book. And you read the book, and it's a totally different experience than if you had read just the book or read the book, then saw the movie. Because at that point, the filmmaker's vision is intruding, pushing against your reader's imagination. It's hard for a lot of people who go see a movie first and they read the book, they keep seeing that actor in that character's part. And they're really thrown off when the author throws in some description of the character that is not in sync with how the filmmakers cast it. It kind of throws us off. It's disconcerting because we're mixing up two arts. We're mixing up two mediums of art. It's almost as if when you do that, when you read the book after the movie, the filmmaker is almost like a virus, an infection inside of your imagination. My agent, my publisher, my family, everybody knows about Rick Yancey's postpartum depressions. I just finished writing the final book of the Fifth Wave trilogy, and the profession, yay! The depression was profound. It's not just, you're leaving characters that you've come to know over the course of 3 books and you're going to miss them. It goes deeper than that. It's like a sense of restlessness, a sense of sadness, and a bit of panic because once again, you're at that point where you don't know what you're supposed to do next. You feel like I should be doing something, but I really can't figure out what that is I should be doing. But I think every time I do sit down to write, even if it's a story about, alien invasions, I'm really chasing that rainbow. I was actually writing the 3rd book as they were filming, the film adaptation of the 1st book. So I knew everything that was, going to happen in the 2nd book, but no one else did. And they would do a scene, and I would say, if you guys do go forward and do a trilogy, this is kind of mess up the 2nd thing. They didn't care. The director turned to me and he said, I haven't even read the 2nd book yet. Okay? Busy. No, he's a very nice guy. But it was kind of weird working on the 3rd novel while I was watching them do the 1st novel, because in my mind, in my creative world that I was in, I was already at the, near the end of the story while they were doing the beginning of the story. So certain scenes took on a kind of poignancy to me that anybody else standing around there wouldn't experience because I knew where this character was ending up. I knew what was going to happen to them eventually. And not a lot of great, not every character, has a lot of great stuff happen to them. So I knew these young actors, working these parts, I would look at them as the character and think, oh gosh, that's really sad. I'm always surprised a little bit, but I was very surprised about the reaction to the 5th Wave when it was published in 2013. And I'll tell you why. I had a long time to think about that book after I wrote it. And when you have that kind of time, you start picking out all the flaws in it, right? You start realizing, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have done that. And that happened to me with this book. So when the reaction started building about it after its publication, I was a little like, felt like the Emperor in the Emperor's New Clothes story. Like, at some point, somebody's going to figure out, this is not that good. But actually, I don't self-flagellate a lot. But the nice thing about writing trilogies is that whatever flaws you pick up in like the 1st book, you got like 2 books to fix that. And if you think, like writers like, I'm not going to drop any names, but Jonathan Franzen, you think that man doesn't watch social media? He's like, oh, social media is ruining our lives. I don't tweet. I don't Facebook. Nonsense. I can't think of a better way, talking about this collaboration between writers and readers, to break that wall, Okay, in the past, before the internet, if a writer did something that really ticked you off, what was your alternative? All you could do was throw the book across the room. I guess you could pick up, and write a letter. So you dirty scum. Such a hack. Now the internet has freed us to practically tell the writer that in real time. So if you're worried if you're on Twitter or Facebook and you're worried, I wrote, not me personally, I'm doing a quote here. That Veronica Roth, I wrote her a really nasty tweet, but I know she never reads that. You bet she does read that. And you can feel happy that Veronica Roth's going to know how ticked off you are. But going forward, people ask, well, what are you going to do after the 5th Wave series? Those people being my wife, my agent, and my publisher. And I really don't know. I think I may end up, grabbing a copy of Are You My Mother for inspiration, just to remind me of what works in stories, what makes stories great, and what drew me to them, at the very beginning in the first place. My old joke is, Yancey, what do you do about writer's block? I go to the mailbox and get my mortgage statement. And helps enormously.